Samupe, Sampa Dietia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Samupe, Jumpa Dietia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and Yumpankuma, Asam Pankuma.
Hello, good evening, Era One Radio listeners. It's another Tuesday Divine Connection show. It's live on Facebook, YouTube, and Modern Ghana Radio. Just before I checked into the studio, our sister Stella Dugan was hitting her beautiful song, and I couldn't stop listening. So I think that's the reason why I'm 2 minutes late. But anyway, it's another Tuesday. I haven't been on a Tuesday program for a while, but tonight I just got inspired to come and share something. Tonight, of course, is the Divine Connection show. This is where divinity meets humanity. You know, we try to bring the spiritual into our human life, and also there are times where we have to bring humanity into our spiritual to make it complete. Tonight, I want to focus on sharing something that is upon my heart. How focused and determined are you to attaining your goals, your visions, or your dreams? That is what I'm talking about tonight. And I believe the last time I was here, I think I did something connecting with people, the law of connection, how to connect and communicate with people. That is, and I made a character study of how Jesus connected with a woman and changed a city. Tonight, I'm continuing with my book review. And so the topic I chose to work on was the law of consistency. And so I'm looking at how we can be focused to be able to achieve or attain our goals, our visions, or our dreams for the rest of the year and then after that. When you talk about goals, visions, and dreams, someone may say they are interchangeable, but each of them has a different meaning completely. And I try to do a little bit of studying. So the goals are milestones that are created to help someone, a person, achieve their dream. And then conversely, in other ways, vision is the ability to imagine and think of the future with insight. It also refers to the purpose that a person visualizes without knowing how to achieve it. So what is the difference between a dream and a vision? Well, in business terms, planning out your business or goals is a key difference between dream and vision. If you're a business person, you want to separate your dream and your vision. They are a little bit different. Dreams grow sometimes unplanned and remain unreal, whereas visions are real ideas with concrete applications. They have specific goals, and these specific goals narrow the vision, so you have to know the difference. And this make them more achievable. That is the difference between goals and vision. So we have to just have a clear-cut distinction. Well, in case you join us, you are listening to us live on Facebook and YouTube and also on Modern Ghana Radio. In case you want to join the broadcast, have a question, have a contribution, you want to help with our program, calling number is 2402-802-633. And if you want to text, it's 510-931-0946. Again, I am broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Modern Ghana Radio. So please invite your friend to invite a friend, and let's all glean and share what is going on. All right. Normally, I start with some trending issues. What is trending this week? Well, we realize that the United States have been kicked out of the World Soccer, and so now I don't know which game to watch anymore. Just before I came to the studio, I realized that Colombia has qualified over Jamaica with a 1-0 victory. So for the first time, Colombia has also advanced. They are going to places. So now I don't know which team you are going to tip to win this World Cup. I think France is also in. They also beat, I think, who did they beat? They beat Morocco also 3-0, and that's also a disaster. So yeah, surprised, but I was sad that US couldn't make their third win to keep the trophy or something. All right. But then the funny thing about this World Cup is that, we say men are booga people. They like, boogaing people. But we saw a lady by name Lauren James, an English player who, I don't know whether it was intentional, she was frustrated, she was angry or whatever, she stepped on a Nigerian player. And it's buzzing all over, social media, Facebook, and I mean, it's sad. I mean, I don't know what caused there to. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw a clip of it. And I saw this lady with her foot on this Nigerian player on her butt, which is kind of sad. I don't know what aggravated her to do that, but whatever it is, I don't think it's deserving for you to step on another player in that manner. So I don't think it was a cool thing to do, especially coming from a lady and your fellow, lady stamping on her. That is quite awful. All right. So like I said, tonight I'm continuing with my book reviews. I'm continuing with Dr. John C. Maxwell's book that is titled The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. Somebody said that if you want to hide something from a certain kind of people, put it in a book. And I'm trying to debunk that. I mean, I'm a Black person and I like reading, so that statement doesn't actually apply to me. But for those of you who don't like reading, maybe this might be applicable. But you know what? The world is changing, so we are all reading. That is why I try to do a book study, try to read a book which kind of, impresses me, inspires me, and then I come and I share some details or, snippets of it. So I'm continuing with Dr. John Maxwell's book. That's a very interesting book, and it's full of, wisdom. All right, we are in the second week of August. Of course, as if we didn't know, I'm just re-echoing. The end of the year is also not too far from here. My question is, how focused are you to attain the goals and the vision that you set yourself at the beginning of 2023? And maybe Dr. Maxwell will have a few pointers for us in one of his book. And then also pick up a passage from the best-selling book, the Bible. So we'll look at John Maxwell's book and also look at the Bible. All right. So Dr. Maxwell talks about the law of consistency. And he opens that chapter with a quote that says, he says, motivation gets you going. Motivation gets you going. Discipline is what keeps you growing. Motivation keeps you going. Discipline keeps you growing. So one is you are moving forward, you are going, but then discipline is what is going to actually make you grow. And when we talk about growth, we're not talking about increasing the height of your stature or the width or the girth of your stature. We are talking about growing emotionally, growing, intellectually, and all that you can think about, not body structure. And Dr. Maxwell quotes a very interesting, writer, Jim Dressel. And this is what he said. He said, the hallmark of excellence, the test of greatness is consistency. If you want to be excellent, if you want to be great, pursue consistency, and that will push you ahead of so many things. All right, we'll be looking at some nuggets of what Dr. Maxwell talked about. And so he says, he gives a statement that I'm so interested in. This is what he has to say. He says what? It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how many opportunities you receive in this life. If you want to grow, consistency is the key. That is a punch. He said, it doesn't matter how talented you can be, very talented, have all the skills in this world. But if you really want to grow, you have to be consistent. Don't think you can go and blow a studio today by means of, attracting 100 million people and, getting all this money. But then you can stay there if you just remain that way. If you don't have discipline, of course, if you're a lady, you have all the men, falling at you and all that stuff, and vice versa. If you don't have consistency, then you are going to fall short of growth. So if you really, really want to grow, add talent. I mean, you have your talent, add discipline to it, and add consistency. That will take you far. If you want to become more disciplined and consistent in your performance, you need to become more disciplined and consistent in your growth. These are all ways that Dr. Maxwell just told them in there. If you want to become more disciplined and consistent in your performance, you need to become more disciplined and consistent in your growth. There's consistency here, there's consistency here. You have to apply all this. The consistency is very important. So he's saying that if you want to be disciplined, then you have to be consistent. And if you have to be disciplined, be consistent, you have to be consistent, be disciplined. So these words go hand in hand. And how do you do all this? How do you become consistent? How do you become consistent in what you do? By knowing your what, your how, your why, and when of personal improvement. You have to know. In School of Journalism, that is one of the things they teach you. I think the 4 W's and 1 H. The what, the where, the when, the why, and the how. These 5 elements are very important. Where are you going? What are you going to do? Why are you going there? It's very important. And anybody that enters the school of journalism, these are the 5 things they teach you. Maybe your school of journalism is different, but when I went to Ghana Institute of Journalism years ago, before I left and came here, I was so enthused about journalism, and I loved it. When you have passion for something, I mean, it tells you excel. Whatever you are passionate about, you excel. I went to University of Science and Technology. I struggled in biology, but when I came to journalism school and I took this course, I mean, everything was like they would say, Coco. I mean, you don't even have to struggle to study so much, and it just comes straight away. There are some things that passion will let you ease through easily, and there are some things that you can struggle. So you have to know where your passion is and what you can do to make your maximum, get to your maximum. All right, so some of the questions we're going to ponder on, we're going to look at is what? Do you know what you need to improve upon or improve on? Because if you don't know what you want to improve upon, then you're going to be in the same place. That's what they call what? Being static and just stay in the same place, just enjoying the status quo. But if you want to go forward, you want to go above, then you have to do something like they say differently. Do you really know what you need to improve upon? Because if there's nothing for you to improve upon, then you're going to be in the same place. And Dr. Maxwell quotes journalist George Lorimer. He says, you have to get up every morning with determination if you are going to go to bed with satisfaction. If you get up in the morning and you are just still yawning and you don't feel, man, I mean, it happened to me this morning. I woke up, I was, okay, normally I wake up in the morning, I do my quiet time, and then before I get up to go to whatever. This morning, it was just like a stretch. I said, Lord, do I have to go to work today? And even after my alarm woke me up, I was just still stretching. If you wake up and you are not motivated, there's nothing pushing you, there's nothing urging you, then there's no way you're going to go back to bed with any satisfaction because you started on a bad note. Well, sometimes in the middle, it's like running a marathon. You don't start well, but then in between you have people pushing you, and at the end you do well. But sometimes they say if you don't start well, then your end might not be very good. So it depends on how you want to look at it. If you want to end up well at the end of the day with satisfaction, then your day must begin with motivation. Motivate yourself, despite the fact that maybe you didn't get enough sleep. If you have to go do something, motivate yourself, encourage yourself. That is what David did. There was a time that he asked the Lord, Lord, do I pursue? And there was, distraction, stealing all over around him. And he said, no, David encouraged himself in the Lord and he pursued. You have to motivate yourself. Sometimes you won't get people to tell you, hey, Jack, you did well, you done up. You have to motivate yourself. Even when nobody gives you accolade, keep pushing and keep pressing, because sometimes the only person who can motivate you is you yourself. You yourself and you. If you don't do it, then you might not get it. I mean, some people might not give it to you. So just do it for yourself or give it to yourself. All right. Do you know how you are even supposed to improve? Do you know the how? Do you have a handle on how to improve yourself? And this is one of the proposals that Dr. Maxwell makes. Says, match your motivation to your personality type. Not everyone gets motivated the same way. And so the personality that you have is very important. And Dr. Maxwell quotes a lady by name Florence Littlemore. Actually, I haven't heard her name before, but then she did an extensive study on the personality types. And I'm sure by now you've heard them. You might have heard it on a different terminology. We call it temperaments, but Dr. Maxwell calls it personality types. So you have to know what he's talking about. It's the same thing, whether it's a personality type or it's personality profile or temperaments. They are simply the same. They just do the same job. So in a jiffy, I'm going to run through those, temperaments, and then we'll look at how Dr. Maxwell applies them. That will be very, very beneficial and helpful to us. All right. So the personality type he talks about are the temperament that I just mentioned. And there are four basic ones. Everybody falls into each of these. There are some that are multi-temperamented. I mean, you can be a phlegmatic, you can be a sanguine. You can have 50% of this, 50% of the other, have 20% of this, have 20% of that, and mix them up. But everybody is predominantly one. That is one that stands out, for everybody to know. Some people, it's very difficult to tell which ones they belong to. You have to study them very well, because today they are here, tomorrow they jump here, the next day they are here, they have bits and snippets of here and there. So you have to be able to distinguish them very well. But at the end of the day, each one of us will fall into one particular personality profile or temperament That will be the dominant one, and then you have a little bit of here and there combined, because like I said, you might have a bit of phlegmatism and have some sanguineness here and there. So know who you are, even in terms of marriage. I mean, I once listened to a marriage counselor who said that, you know, if you are, let's say, phlegmatic and you marry a phlegmatic, there might be some problems. It's not going to work. But that is why God likes to blend. God likes to mixes. I mean, he likes to mix things up. He takes one phlegmatic and then push him ahead to a sanguine. He takes a melancholic and push him to a choleric. That is how God designs stuff. So you have to know who you are. There's a book I read that says, "Man, know thyself." Man, sometimes you have to know yourself. This is my weakness. This is my strength. This is who I am. You have to know yourself. It isn't everybody telling you, okay, this is who you are. Sometimes people can give you different or descriptions that don't actually fit who you think you are. You know, okay, I'm this type, and others are seeing me this way. Sometimes the externals may work, but you have to know yourself. Even before somebody tells you who you are, you know yourself. So these are the 4 types that Dr. Marshall discusses with us. He said, the strength of people with this personality, referring to the first one, type 1, phlegmatic. The strength of people with this personality is that they are easygoing and likable. They are very easygoing. They just easily blend, and they are, hey, today they are this, and they easily blend. But their weakness is inertia. It's inertia. When we were studying science early in our formative years, there were some laws that we learned from Isaac Newton's law, inertia. You know, a body will stay in a state of rest until an impressed force acts on it, or a body in motion will continue to move until an impressed force acts on it. What does that mean? What it means is that, let's say, if you throw a ball on a flat level, I mean, if you throw a tennis ball or something, this ball is supposed to, once you give it force and you throw it, it's supposed to keep going until something stops it. That could be a wall, that could be somebody who is just angry at you and stops your ball or whatever. And the same way, if I put my cell phone here on this table for 100 years, the cell phone should remain on the table without moving. It shouldn't move. And so inertia, they need some activation. These people, they are weak. They need some somebody needs to activate them. You know, you have to get moved. Somebody has to motivate them. So for the phlegmatic person, how do you motivate yourself? How do you encourage yourself? How do you motivate yourself? Since you know your weakness is inertia, by finding the value in what you need to do. Find value in what you need to do. And like I said earlier on, passion is about everything. You need to put some passion in. So if you don't have passion in anything, it doesn't even have any value to you. If there is no passion, there is no value. Find value in what you need to do. When phlegmatics see the value in doing something, they can be one of the tenacious people. Once they find passion in something, they can be very tenacious. They can be stubborn at it, and they go crazy. Once they say, this one I like, nothing is going to stop them. That is the phlegmatic type. And that's why people like, you know, if you belong to that type, know who you are. Please take, you know, maybe Google it or get a book on the temperaments. Read about it, even in the Bible. I mean, there was a book I read some years ago about all the temperaments of the 12 disciples. Each of them have their own character. That is why somebody like Peter, even before Jesus asked a question, his hand is up already. Lord, I know the answer. And then then Peter has to think about, Lord, what actually did you say? What was your question? There are people like that. I mean, when I go to teach youth, you know, these youth students and all that in Bible school, I mean, you know, classes like that. I mean, there are people that you can identify the various characters in the class. There are some people, when you ask a question, they will never raise their hand. But if you push them and ask, and you make them respond, you know that they know, but they won't. And there are some too that as soon as you ask your question, before you put your period, a hand is up, they want to answer. And there are some who want to dominate the class. I'm randomly, I'm speaking, I'm thinking about somebody in my mind already. They will just shoot up and give. So you have to know which temperament. All right, so the type 2 is that at the opposite end of the spectrum from phlegmatics are the cholerics. The cholerics, their strength is that they take charge easily and make decisions quickly. These are not the type that if you ask me, okay, Kweku Mensah, do you want to do it? So, okay, let me go and think about it. Let me go and fast 40 days and pray about it. Let me come back with a solution or something like that. They jump and they make a decision quickly. It may be bad or it may be good or whatever, but these guys have the gift of making decisions right on the spot. However, Their weakness is that if they are not in charge, these people always want to be in charge. You want to make decision. Okay, I'm making the decision right now. This is what I'm going by, and we all go. So if you don't put them in charge, they refuse to participate. I know of a little girl who, does some sporting activity, and if you don't put this person in the front to do some stuff, they get easily angry and okay, I'm not doing it again. So I mean in the enemy they are cry. They don't want to be a team player. Today I'm the leader, tomorrow I'm the least, I'm the corner here. They cannot vacillate here and there. They just want to be in charge. So for such people, you have to know their strength and their weakness. If you don't put them in charge, they don't want to participate. So if you're choleric, how can you tap into your internal motivation? Okay, now stop focusing on yourself, focus on choices that you make. Okay, I'm not a leader today. Maybe I can lead from behind. I can do something else. Today I'm not in charge, but what can I do to, motivate the person who is in charge? You don't always have to be. There are some leaders who always lead from behind. When you go to, gatherings, you go to church programs, it is not everybody who has the podium to preach, but there are people behind who make the preaching and the services great. They don't publicize themselves. Even their names are not mentioned, but these are the ones that make things happen. For instance, when we were way back in the ASU, when activities were going on, we will have to go look for some classroom and pray and make sure the program is, going on. I remember one time, I think somewhere there was a program that was going on in Laboni Secondary School sometime years ago, and it was a speech and prize giving day, and the clouds had gathered and the rains were angry to pour down, and a group of us gathered ourselves as prayer warriors. We went to look for one classroom. The tongues we blew. We realized that the cloud was shifting and the rain was subsided. I said, "Wow, God is good." So sometimes you have to motivate yourself. Focus on choices that you can make. Don't just depend on just because I'm not the lead singer, I'm not so I'm not going to sing. Just lead from behind and motivate those who are there. Use that leadership skills you have to help others. Every person is in charge of his own growth. You are the only person who can cause your growth. Sometimes we expect people to help us grow, but you have to have an internal growth and just have your own motivation, have your own force, motivation and move. Choose how you grow and stick with it. That is how you grow. And the third type that Dr. Maxwell mentioned is the third one, that is the sanguine. The most fun-loving of the personality types are these people, the sanguines. They are often the life of every party. If you go to a party, these guys and gals are jamming. They are everywhere. They are excited. They are doing all the break dances, everything. They are the extroverts. They are all over the place. They make the party go live. There's no boredom when these people are around. However, what is their weakness? Their weakness is often lack of focus. They lack focus. They will be jamming, they will do, but realize that, I'm not focused. If you're sanguine, how can you motivate yourself to grow? You have to make a game of it, make a game plan. If it seems impossible, then give yourself rewards for incremental successes. Yeah, if you think your weakness is focus, reward yourself. Give yourself some rewards. Just, okay, I'm rewarded. I want to go and maybe go sit somewhere and eat ice cream to just reward myself. You can do it. Once you know your strength and you know your weakness, capitalize on it, because not everybody is going to help you grow. So you have to help yourself grow. And then the fourth and final personality type is the melancholic. I was going to say mechanic. The melancholic type, the melancholists, they are life's perfectionists. That's why I said everybody has part of this personality traits in their life. Somebody who is melancholic might be 90% melancholic, but have 5% of choleric, 5% of sanguine, or maybe something. But these people naturally are life's perfectionists. Attention to detail is their strength. If you have a boss who is a melancholic perfectionist, he or she wants everything. It has to be this. The fork has to be laid on the left side. The knife on the right side. If you're if you're a right person, you hold the fork with the left. The right holds the knife and you are cutting it. If you swap the position, they will be so angry. Why did you put the knife on the left and the fork on the right? And it happens. And even in marriage, it's the same thing. You wake up and you don't dress the bed. Yeah, there's trouble, but you have to dress your bed anyway. You have to do the right thing. These perfectionists, they want things, laid in the right place. They want, timing, everything, house decoration. Oh man, and you can expect your home to be clean and check. They want to see everything spick and span. But despite their perfectionism or whatever it is, they still have their own weakness. But because attention to detail, like I said, is their strength. They want to, they are following instructions. If you buy something, there's a manual. They want to put the equipment down, take the manual, and go through step by step. Make sure you do this before this. If you bought some equipment before, you know how it is done. Or once you buy, I know of people from YouTube, so they don't even look at the manual. They just throw the manual away and they just start opening boxes. And I can't open boxes like that. I have to open the box, take the manual, and read instruction. Because if you fail one step, unless you know what you are doing, if you fail one step or you neglect to do a step, you might end up starting all over because you missed something. But if you're a mechanic and you are pulling aside a vehicle or something, you've done it before. But if you go to buy something from Amazon and it's this thing that you have to put together, then you have to follow. So these perfectionists go step by step. They want to follow, and everything is judged. If you miss something, you are in trouble. I know of a friend of mine in the Navy. We go to his house to watch a movie, and this guy, you can't talk when you are watching a movie with him. EBA will tell you, we are watching movie, no talking. You have to finish watching the movie before you can say there. If you have a question, take a piece of paper and write it at the end of it, then you ask question. Charles EBA won't let you finish watching the movie while talking at the same time. And I learned something from him. Well, we're talking about the perfectionists, but because they desire to do everything perfectly, they are afraid of making mistakes. That's the problem. They want to be so excellent. They want to be so perfect. So they don't want to fail. And so because there's something they're not even going to start at all, because I know, if I start this thing and I fail, it's going to go against me. I'll be emotionally tortured or, doomed or something. So they don't want to take certain risk unless they are very sure this thing, they won't. So if you're melancholic, how do you motivate yourself beyond that of fear? What you can do is by what? Focusing on the joy of learning details and the potential for developing a level of mastery over your subject matter. Whatever you are scared of, just pretend you are one of the other, temperaments. Sanguine or they don't care making mistakes. So just pick up one of those habits. So, just say to yourself, I'm a human being. I am bound to make a mistake. Let me try this. If I fail, I am going to try it again and keep trying. But despite the fact that this melancholic are perfectionists, at a point they have to endeavor, they have to try to do something else. Otherwise, they stay in that bubble and it kind of affects them emotionally and psychologically. So of all these four types, none of us is predominantly 100% unique in this single, temperament or personality types. You might be predominant in one of them, but then the single digits, percentages, you kind of overlap from the other places. Otherwise, you're not going to be whole. I haven't seen somebody who is 100% melancholic. Some way, somehow, a little bit of sanguinism or cholerism or phlegmatism, rest their head there, and so realize that to err is human, so they have to adapt a little bit. And especially in marriage, you cannot use that one single temperament. So maybe we say no, it's not going to work. You will break stuff, you mess up stuff. So sometimes you have to be tolerant. If you in your own simple way living by yourself, this is the way you're going to do it, this is the way I would have done it. In marriage, it doesn't work that way. You have to be tolerant. You have to be accommodative. You have to accommodate the person, their mistakes, their flaw. You mix up their strength and their mistakes and combine. It all comes together. So you cannot pick and choose, okay, this one is good, I'll take it, and this one. We are all learning. People make mistakes and we have to be accommodated. Sometimes they say something and you just have to swallow it. But you cannot do that. You have to accommodate some things and just swallow them and move on. When you go and hide in your corner, you can say whatever you want to say. So as you can see, every personality type has its own strength. And in business school, one thing that they teach is the SWOT analysis. I keep saying this, I love that word, SWOT analysis. They would give you a four, squares or something. You have the strength, your strengths, your weakness, your opportunities, and your threats. You have to know all this. Even in the business acumen, where you have in a business, you have to do a SWOT analysis because you're going to compete with other people. What is your strength in the market? in a competitive market, what are you bringing to the market that gives you a competitive edge over the rest? If you don't analyze all this, then you're going to be in trouble. What is your weakness? Is your weakness that maybe you can't negotiate well with customers, you can't talk to them well? If that is your weakness, then work on it, because the other person who might not have too many commodities in their store, they have that vibes. They can yob the customer so much that you having the weakness of conversation or whatever, there's that person who has just 2 tins of milk in their store will brag and yob and make this customer feel so good. Oh, I don't to be mommy. I mean, they will yob you before you leave there. You bought half of the things to be even put on your list. That is their strength. That they can yob you, they can vibe you, they can conversate with you, they'll make you feel like you are the king of the whole world. All they are doing is trying to get your money. So you have to, in business ethics, you have to know your strength, know your weakness. Whatever is not working for you, work on it. That's a very good ethics for business people. You have to always do a SWOT analysis. So if you are that, your personality type has its strength, like I said, and then has its strength. So you need to tap to the strength in your personality to set yourself up for success when it comes to motivation. You have to motivate yourself. Like I said, some people might not motivate, even when you are doing the right thing, they know you are doing the right thing, but even saying that, hey, you've done the right thing, you won't get it. You won't get, like, when we're growing up in Ghana, which father will even look at you and tell your son, oh, son, I love you? They do it. It's within them, but it's difficult to say it. So you have to motivate yourself. If it's not being said to you, then you have to, just motivate yourself and keep moving on. All right. So now I'm going to pause here and do a character study. I have to apply the divinity and the humanity. I've talked about the human aspect, what we need to do as human beings, our physical entities, what we have to do ourselves. I believe in this axiom that pray as if everything belongs to God, depends on God, and work as if everything depends on you. If you have that mindset, you are good. You wake up in the morning, you pray as if everything depends on God. Lord, I am going, lead me, help me do this job. Everything, Lord, if you don't come in, I'm consumers. And then when you get to the job, you've already prayed. That's not where you're going to be like a Jessica. That's not where you're going to take your Bible and sit on the job and you have 8 hours to work. That's where you're going to read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. No, you prayed already. You have your quiet time in the morning. Now you are carrying God with you to work. You are going to do physical work for your boss or for, even if it's your own work, you are going to do work. Ankasa, that is where you have to apply. So you apply the spiritual, you apply the physical too. You have to combine the two. You don't just say, oh, you go and pray 8 hours and go back. They will fire you. And then later you go and do another 40 days fasting and say, Lord, why did they fire me? We have to use wisdom. We are in an age where wisdom has to be applied with the spiritual for us to get victory. That is what I'm talking about. Let me take a quick ad, and then when I come back, we'll dive into the spiritual aspect where I take a clip or a verse from the Bible, and then we work on that one.
Me a businessman at the same time, so me sansu ye actor. Me nyata mpo ena makwara sabia ekosi say dakro me business for ehia meeting. Prekope me call off. Me unruhwi bio. Me no te me no na mo banahin specialist hospital. Wow, emfidie ni machine sa hodo na mu say yes hospital e bi di de biachi. Me hu say mayo kakra. Nanka me san contract bi eneya agibia. And problem you buy. The Cambodia mama aqua crowd masamba. Many bajopa.
Oh, men worry. A person will treatment. And so your facility waha, we born our new business partners na meeting. Madam one say. And hospital one we. I want I use my minimum say. Open to hospital, me campo, Banahin specialist hospital. Call. They are ready to help you.
All right, thank you for still being with us on Around Radio. We're still broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Modern Ghana Radio. Before the break, or before our brother Akrobota came to introduce Banahini Hospital to us, I was talking about the aspect where we have to blend, we have to be consistent, apply the law of consistency. We have to be focused. However many months is left in the year, whatever vows or goals or visions or dreams that you had or made, it is still possible that you can still make it. We have a few months more, and wherever you started from, whatever resolutions you made at the beginning of the year, it is possible that you can make it through. All right, so now I want to draw my attention to the spiritual aspect, where I take a biblical verse and then I move on from there. So I'm going to read Luke's gospel, the Gospel of Luke, chapter 8, verses 40 through 50 thereabouts. But then there's a little bit that I want us to. So this is what Luke, the physician, the doctor, said. Luke chapter 8, verse 40, and says, "And it came to pass that when Jesus was returned, the people gladly received him, for they were all waiting for him." 41, "And behold, there came a man named Jairus, and he was a ruler of the synagogue, and he fell down at Jesus' feet and besought him that he would come into his house. For he had only one daughter, about 12 years of age, and she lay dying." That's what she was dying. She was so sick, she was dying. "But as he went, the people thronged him." I mean, they were just pushing here and there. 43, "And a woman having an issue of 12 years, which had spent all her living upon physicians, neither could be healed of any." None of them could help him. Her came behind him and touched the border of his garment, not even the whole garment, the whole cloth, just as crazy. And immediately her issue of blood stanched. 45, "And Jesus said, Who touched me? When all denied, Peter and they that were with him said, Master, the multitude thronged thee and passed thee, and sayest thou, Who touched me? And Jesus said, Somebody hath touched me, for I perceive that virtue is gone out of me. And when the woman saw that she was not hid, she came trembling, and falling down before him, he declared unto him before all the people for what cause she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately." 48, "And he said unto her, Daughter, be of good comfort, thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace." There was no charge. He didn't charge him nothing, her nothing. Just go in peace. While he yet spake, there cometh from the ruler of the synagogue's house, saying to him, Thy daughter is dead, trouble not the master. But when Jesus heard it, he answered him, saying, Fear not, believe only, and she shall be made whole. And when he came into the house, he suffered no man to go in, save Peter and James and John, and the father and the mother of the maiden. All right. So let's go to what I want to just exhort about. So this is the scenario, the story. Jesus came from a trip. Prior to that, he had, healed a man who was possessed of demons that Jesus let the spirit go into. All the spirit went into pigs and stuff like that. And the people were angry at him. They kicked him out of the city. So Jesus came back. And so that's what the verse 40 said. When Jesus returned, he came back to the city. And so these are the scenarios that we gather. And I'm going to walk through with the 21 minutes that I have. I'm going to walk through the scenarios and the verses one by one for us to understand and be motivated, because, this is one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible, the New Testament. The woman with the issue of blood. This woman's faith was just, there are people that Jesus recommended. Most of the time, Jesus couldn't do miracles. Not that he couldn't do, but he didn't do miracles in many places because he said that people had no faith. If you don't have faith in me, then I'm not going to do it. He that counts must believe that God is and is a rewarder of them who diligently seek him. So that is the mantra that Jesus worked with. Do you believe? Then boom, it will happen. You don't believe? Maybe I'll have mercy on you and do it. But then your faith will actually make you whole. So this woman's story was very unique. And then we talk about the Syrophoenician woman. This woman's example was also unique because this is a lady who came and said, Master, my daughter is almost dying. Can you please come and heal my daughter? And Jesus said, you know what? I wasn't sent to people like that. I can't give the children's bread to foreigners. And Jesus classified the Israelites as the children of God. I'm not going to give the bread, the healing of my children to a foreigner or an alien. And the woman said, Master, yes, I understand. But after the masters have eaten and the crumbs accidentally fall beneath the table, the dogs can actually pick it. And Jesus said, woman, your faith is too big. I've never seen this faith before. I was trying to kick you out. Maybe I was testing you, but you passed the test. Go, your daughter is healed. All right. So let's go back to our story before I digress. What we gather from this story. Now, the story begins. So the multitude welcomed Jesus. That was the first point. But then what we need to realize that we might be sidetracked, or we might even begin to forget about the reason why Jesus was on that mission. Remember, the initial mission was to go and heal Jairus' sick daughter, because the man had invited, and this man was a ruler of the synagogue. He carries some authority. I mean, if you're a ruler of the synagogue, it's like you are the chairperson, or you are the one in charge. You are the one who foresees that the doors are open or locked, and you oversee all the activities. So this guy was a bit short. I mean, he was high up there in the hierarchy. And so when he comes to Jesus, me too, I have authority. Please, my daughter is sick, but I know you have the anointing. So please come and heal. So Jesus, okay, if you believe that I can do it, then despite your authority, I'll come and do it. So this guy, being the bishop and ruler of the synagogue, beckoned Jesus to come and touch his daughter, because he knew that Jesus could do it. And the Bible said that he came and knelt before Jesus. I mean, this is a big guy. Can you imagine someone like President Biden coming to my house and say, Charles, I know the Spirit of the Lord is upon you. Come and heal my last baby or my granddaughter. Wow. I say, hey, President Joe, wow, you, the president, come to kneel before me. But this guy did not look on his position, authority, and say, I'm big, so I'm not going to. I mean, the example is where Naaman also had leprosy, and the maid servant said, hey, Master Naaman, I know you are sick, you have leprosy. I know of a man who can help you. Let's go and talk to this person and say, you know what? Why am I going to kowtow to somebody? He felt big, but then after being beckoned and begged, he did. But this guy, despite his authority, said, you know what? My authority is not going to save my daughter. I better go and kneel before Jesus and ask for some help. So he came, put every authority that he had, whether he was a ruler, whether he said, Jesus, I know you have the power to heal. Please come and heal my servant, my daughter. And the girl was the only daughter, not say there were 3 daughters and now 4 sons and 5 daughters into the Bakubewu uncle. That was the only one. So to look on for that one to die, not lie. He went, whatever he had to do to make Jesus come home, he would do it. If Jesus told him, lie on the floor, let me cut one or amputate one of your hand, so your daughter, this man would have done it, because his only inheritance was his only daughter. So he was ready to do anything. His damsel, a 12-year-old, was dying, and this guy had to go and kowtow Jesus and do whatever he had to do. So he said, you know what, Jesus, I know you are busy, but this is a 911 call. This is an emergency. Please leave whatever you are doing. The rest, some of them are hungry. They want bread and fish to eat. Others are just having a pain in their leg. They can, suffer a little bit. But this is my daughter. She's been so sick. If you don't come right now, she's going. So please, this is an emergency. Leave whatever you are doing, Jesus, and come and do it. So Jesus said, okay, I'm going to. But then the crowd was too large. I don't know the population at that time. How many people were? Maybe just akin to what happened in New York, when people were going for game plays. This guy said, put on social media, I'm going to distribute some games, and so everybody showed up. I don't know whether that crowd was equivalent to that, but I mean, from what we read, it was a massive crowd, and people crowd. I mean, it was like what, body to body, or we say vehicles, bumper to bumper. People were bumping at each other. I mean, hey, Ubia person who Jesus, Ubia person so Jesus move. The guy was moving, and people are coming everywhere, because they know the guy, if you are hungry, he will give you food. If you are sick, he will feed you. What is it that Jesus couldn't do? Anybody that had an issue, whatever your problem was, Jesus was meeting it. So no matter your problem, the guy, I mean, one time he's preaching and he said, you know what, the people are tired. They've been following me for days. I need to feed them. They need to eat. He had a game plan. Knew Jesus knew what he was going to do. Whether the boy brought his 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish or whatever, Jesus had a plan. I don't know whether he was going to command fish from heaven like a manna, but he had a plan. So he tricked them. Philip, what do you have? He said, Lord, I mean, these people, even if you buy 5,000 denarii worth of bread and so on, the people are there. You can see some of the men with their abeti, some of them had gone fishing. Their shoulders were much. They were hungry. I mean, 10 loaves of bread and so on. So Philip just says, don't kill yourself. These people are chow. They are plenty. We can't feed them. So let them go home. And Jesus said, how are they going to go themselves? Some of them will faint. They've been with me, listening to the gospel, listening to the kingdom of God. And how am I going to leave them to go? And Jesus said, I'll do something. He fed them. The people were plenty. They were massive. They were there. But Jesus was there to provide a healing. So then we go into the verse where it says, a certain woman. When Bible talks about a certain woman or certainty, which means they are not putting a name to the person. A certain woman. The woman was nameless. For some reason, they didn't put a name to this woman. I don't know whether she was called Akosha Menu or Joyce Benkum or whatever. A certain woman, nameless. She had, I mean, of course, she had her own name, but for some reason, Luke decided to not disclose the name of the woman. If it was DJ Paparazzi, oh man, people will be chasing her. Hey, woman, what's your name? What's your last name? What's your middle name? Some even go and ask for your social security number. But Bible says the woman was nameless. She was a certain woman. That's what the description they gave her. I don't know whether, I don't think even other versions mentioned her name. This woman was nameless. Nobody knew her. She just came in quietly. She wasn't a journalist. She wasn't a paparazzi. She wasn't a lawyer. She wasn't full of authority like Jairus or whatever. She was nameless. And I mean, at this point, the woman considered herself worthless. I've been sick for 12 years, bleeding for 12 years. What worth do I have? But this woman motivated herself. She was, you know what? I've heard about this person called Jesus. I haven't met him, but from the description they give, from the news that is coming, I mean, I was talking to the other lady who went to the world, and she said Jesus came and told her everything that I ever did. Woman, this man can do stuff. Go and look for him. So she's heard stories about the Messiah. Jesus, you know, I'm going to this crusade. I am going to this crusade, and when I go, I know things are going to happen. And just like when I was back in Ghana, one day I went to Prophet Arnold's crusade, one of those crusades. It was even a school area. One of my students, Nana, took me there. And I just went to listen, but I said, you know what, God, tell me something. It was at that crusade that Pastor Arnold told me, Charles, you are going to be traveling. I said, really? So you're going to go overseas? I said, those days I didn't even have a passport. But then Pastor Arnold declared and put faith in me, motivated, and I said, well, Lord, if you said I'm not going to doubt it. And lo and behold, it came to pass. Well, so this lady had to motivate herself. She needed healing. As we will come to know later, the woman had a chronic disease. But she said, you know what, despite the crowd, I'm going to motivate myself. I am going to do something. I am going to do something. And so with her chronic disease, with the intensity of the flow of the blood for 12 years, I mean, can you imagine? Bleeding for 12, not just once in a year. Because, you know, women, before menopause or, you know, all that stuff, you have to ovulate every month and all that stuff, the flu, you know. And when I was in school, I learned something that, you know, when you have a menstrual flu, it means that you were disappointed for not having a fertilized ovum. That's how Okana defined, you know, ovulation for us, you know, those days. I mean, menstruation. He said if you menstruate, it means you are a disappointed woman for not getting your ovary or your egg fertilized by a sperm to give you a baby. So that's what Okana's definition. That was when we were in Form 1 in Augustine. All right. So this lady was bleeding for 12 years. Every month she would bleed. Every month for 12 months times 12 years. That's 144 months of bleeding, if my calculation is right. She's been bleeding. I mean, can you imagine? And of course, if you are bleeding every day, I think your body, there will be some body odor. You know, you wouldn't want to go and mix in people because all the part, I'm sure the part in the system, imagine all the part that they were selling these days that they say it sucks all the blood and you don't even feel nothing. I mean, people are walking around and nothing even is seen. This lady had finished all the female part in the system because every day she was bleeding. And I can imagine, I don't know what chronic problems you are going through, but if you are listening to me, I just want to exhort you. I just want to motivate. If you are going through some chronic issues, you can let it come to an end by reaching out to the Master Jesus. Lord, I've suffered this disease for. I mean, me myself that I'm speaking, I'm also taking my healing. Whatever I'm going through that I have, Lord Jesus, meet me at the point of my need. I'm exhorting people, but I'm also expecting to be touched. So whatever you are going to be, it chronic, whatever it is that you've suffered, that no doctor, they're giving you the diagnosis, but they realize that no medication is helping you. There's somebody this woman met years ago, over 2,000 years ago, that when she encountered the man, said, and then the Messiah, put today, whatever it is, I'm not going back the same. I am living here with my healing. That is what the woman said. So you know what? Jesus, I've heard about you, but because of the population, because of the crowd, because of the people thronging you, I don't think I'm even going to have an appointment to talk to you. But you know what? I'm just going to hide behind. If only I can reach, because the guy is moving. But then, I don't know the kind of gown or cassock that Jesus was wearing those days. Maybe for the sake of that day, let's assume that just because of that particular day, Jesus knew somebody was going to touch him. So he put on his bowler, bowler cassock, entire Jesus or the co-preach, that day he wore a bigger one that had more space. So even if or do any more 1 meter crowd and 20 be still like which all connect a big trip from to the woman say, you know what, I'm not even going to reach where Jesus, the 100 meters or whatever. Behind Kakana, I stop from Hono BNM, make some with motivation. That is what this woman did. I mean, and I'm glad it was written in the Bible because it's a real motivation. I mean, that story really just freaks me out. That she said, I'm not even going closer. Those of you who are closer, you can do whatever. I can imagine Peter, bodyguarding Jesus, making sure nobody comes within some vicinity. The woman said, you guys can go. Maybe all I need is just a touch. Just a touch. Just a touch. So she has spent all her wages to get cured and treatment. The doctors, the gynecologists, whatever, just and whatever, you can psychology, or call for psychological treatment, or more to know counsel. No, it didn't work. She went to gynecologist, she went to the nephrologist, she went to liberologist, all the gist that she could imagine. Every time what she did with her, and I know some of you does the same thing. You are chasing doctors and chasing people everywhere. You hear this name, you are there. It's not your fault. You need healing. And this one I've gone through. The doctors had written prescription upon prescription, diagnosis upon diagnosis, all to no avail. But this woman on that day, I don't know whether it was a Monday, it was a Tuesday, the Bible doesn't mention it. But it was a certain day with a certain woman. She went there and said, you know what? I hear this man can do wonders. I may not even be ready to go close to him. But that is all I need is the hem of Jesus' garment. That is all. You don't need the whole Jesus. Just these days, he's not around for his garment to be touched. We call upon him and miracles begin to happen. She did not request an appointment. Even when I'm going to see your primary care physician or whatever, you have to make an appointment and they will tell you, okay, this day is booked. You have one at 11 a.m. Maybe you're at work, can't do it. The woman said, I can't even get an appointment. You know what? Because Peter will tell me the books are full. Peter will make sure I don't get an appointment. Even if I do, it's going to be maybe in a year's time or that. So, I don't need an appointment. The people are barging through. But I'll have my own appointment, my faith. I am going to press. And the little that I can touch, that is my faith, my motivation. That's going to work for me. So she had the faith, which was just a little more than the mustard seed. You know how Jesus talked about the mustard seed? He said, if you have a mustard seed, you will say unto this mountain, although he wasn't referring to physical mountain, whatever problem, you will say, go and it shall be gone. He said, no, I have the faith of a mustard seed. All I need is the mustard garment. And then she went gradually. And you can see the enactment. Gradually with fear, trembling, who went towards him. I mean, I'm sure she pushed a little bit of the macho people and said, you know what, I just need a little space to just touch the man's garment. Not Peter, not your garment, but Jesus' garment. If only I can just dive down and touch it. And that's all I need. I don't need a whole cassock. I don't need it headgear. I see what they choose from. That is all I need. And with a faith, trembling and pushing through step by step, she went and she just touched it. Immediately her flow ceased. All right, now let's analyze this. How did she know her flow had ceased? Because just before she went to the crusade, and I'm sure when the crusade was going on, Jesus was talking and moving, she could feel the flow because it's like a woman intermittently, maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes, like a crowd drip. Then she will feel that, okay, I'm wet or stuff like that. But Bible says, as soon as she touched it, it was so instantaneous, just like putting something in a microwave. 10 seconds, bam, your thing is warm. Bible says instantly. Yes, said happy and it's happy. Instantly, it was so instantaneous. That is why when you pray, immediately when you pray with faith, God dispatches the answer. But for some reason, you might not see the manifestation right away because it happened to Daniel. In the book of Daniel, Daniel prayed. And for 21 days, the prince of Persia, demonic principalities, withstood and held the answer. So Daniel couldn't, although the first day he prayed, Yankopon said, Daniel J, once and ever. And God was demonstrating that, you can pray and some forces will hold it. Daniel prayed, the response was sent, but then the held on to you, so he couldn't get the response until the angels, Michael and Gabriel, came to intercede and beat up the devil, and then he got his miracle. So here, the woman's was instantaneous. I mean, nothing happened for nothing's sake. This was a unique experience. She grabbed it, and Bible says instantaneously her healing was made. That is how this thing began. She just receive instantaneous healing. All right, now this is the drama aspect. This is the dramatic scene. Jesus asked, "Who touched me? Who touched me?" And of course, Peter was also always full of drama. And I'm sure Peter was, he didn't say it outwardly because there were people, so he didn't want to joke with Jesus or do any stupid thing. He was saying it that, Jesus, stop clowning. Yes, sometimes I wouldn't, and then yes, just paraphrasing, but I'm sure Peter didn't saw Jesus. Or see, yes, never be how we are and in tears you, and now maybe do a what? Okay, Kaya and tears a bit, but why yes, who and tea, Befanasa, yeah, who can maybe call him members and now will say, Uber Conia, who be now will feel so now by yes, some more Canadian and tears you. But we can't be any fans away at Jim Quentin, a fan trass, and near Quay baby. But yes, one more party, what up also. Share Joma Waha, stadium ha. In Kofu will have bumper to bumper, body to body, will be a chew, will be a chew, will be chew, and I will be also more. Yes, to come again. Yes, to come again. But Jesus responded and said, Petro, the other name for Peter, Petra, this touch there, it is different though. You see, when I hear people, when I used to come, when I hear people, I dish out virtue. So Jesus will be area or not second of a energy in virtue if in the moon to aware into a couple on tipus energy in the core. It's energy that's been transferred or transmitted from him to the person. Jesus and said that and feel it's a virtue be a finimu. But when it was particular because the person did not ask permission, one, and the person touched it in faith. And I said, I want to to me be virtue be a finimu zoom. Never seen call. Jesus said, Peter, where they different, where the energy, where the man can mean different to be that. A energy pound Pakuni said that just or touch him in faith. It is a unique touch that touched the Messiah. And so Jesus said, Peter, whenever I heal, I give out energy. I just dissipate it, so I don't even feel like it's going out of me. But this one there, I wasn't even aware, or he knew it, but just that for the sake of saying, the person just sucked like a vacuum, sucked the energy out of me. So Peter, where you're unique, who did that? He said, somebody forcefully sought an energy for me. The person should own up. Maybe he wouldn't have craved the person, but I'm sure Jesus, by being the second person of the but for the sake of those of us who want to learn. Or say, Peter, somebody touch me. Obi touching me, pass, I touch with it. A being me, that me, Obi and touch him, his own touch him. I was saying good energy in film mudda. And then the woman, feeling as though she has stolen something, decided to confess. Ma menankas no nim energy that came to her. No nim so yes more energy be ebe fi yes more san yare ono fi so touch na wako. Entirely the way we are the bisano. It's like, I didn't ask permission to do this. I should have told Peter, say, Peter, please tell Jesus I'm going to touch him so that at least it's aware I'm touching him. There be permission you could Peter man into I'll bypass all that. I'm going to touch him myself. So she touched him, and Jesus that touch with the something. Somebody stole virtue from me. So strong, something strong inside, something strong, so strong inside. And so this lady, trembling, being scared, owned up and came forward. He said, Lord, wabawa, my bread. And me tis a woman, where the Jesus, so bad dia, so bad dia. So bit na in so better than him 38 years. Now, buy no answer one for none to go. The all kinds on so non cordia. The Mrs. to me, etachua. That's what she said. Somebody sat at the Pearl of Bethesda for 38 years, and they'll always wait for an angel to come and stir up the water. Whoever was like Michael with Usain Bolt, to be able to run 100 meters and jump in, receive their healing. What a tragedy. And then Jesus came on the scene and said, man, do you want to be healed? This time, the guy was going to give Jesus a whole exegesis and story. Jesus, you know, I've been here for 38 years, and every time I try, somebody's going ahead of me. My family will come and lie here for the whole year trying to help me, but people are faster than me. Jesus, what are you talking about? Jesus said, no, I'm not asking about the procedure, the SOP that you wrote, the one that you are reading, the book that you are trying to. I'm asking you, do you want to be healed? Don't tell me what I know. What I know, you have been here for 30 years. That's why I'm passing by. I decided to pass it just because of you. Do you want to be healed? Don't tell me stories. Just tell me what you want. I know you want healing, but I'm asking you, do you want healing? That's what the Messiah is asking us today. Do you want to be born again? Do you want healing? Do you want to make it life? Do you want to be motivated, or do you want to motivate yourself? I'm not asking your story. How come they born you? You were born and they just left you here for 38 years. Jesus said, get up. I know you've been here for too long. I know before I came on earth, I knew you were here because you are older than me. That time, 33 years. So he was younger, 31, 32, thereabout. I know you've been here 38 years. Just take up your bed, right? Just go. You are healed. Wow, so scared. Wow, so scared. So this woman demonstrated motivation and she received the healing. So she came trembling and shaking. Although now the healing had been effected, she was whole. She came. And Jesus said, woman, you are a unique person. I'm not going to condemn you. You did the right thing. I know the press is strong. Everybody is strong in me. But your faith, that faith that you had, that is what saw the energy from me. I'm just demonstrating the energy that you saw from me is worthy of commendation. I'm not calling to commend you. I mean, to warn you or do anything, but I'm just commending that you did a good job. Your faith. JD now, your faith. But with all this was going on, Jesus was messed up. Wow. This woman had faith. The Syrophoenician woman had faith. The ruler of the synagogue had faith. But when this thing was going on, all this waste of time was also reducing the life of Jairus' daughter. Can you imagine? When the crowd was pulling on Jesus and this woman stealing virtue coming behind him to touch Jesus, Jesus having a conversation with her, who did this? Peter. I'm sure Peter wrote an essay. Jesus forgot about you. Everybody is touching you. Let me go and ask John, the beloved. Do you know who touched this woman? No, maybe Judas keeps the money, so you know how people are doing. Judas, did you see who touched Jesus? Judas said, "Me try say you have two offering. Now my Jesus can keep. I'm thinking about offering and money, and you are talking about who touched Jesus. Me, I don't deal with this kind of miracles people do. I'm a financial officer. All I need is that they will borrow for it. They will give the offering, and then the money will come to me. I carry it. If I have to take it to the bank, I take it. If I have to steal some. Judas, me, all I'm interested in is money. So forget about who touched Jesus. Go and deal with Peter. You are the valedictorian. You are the classmate. Deal with who. Go and find it. Do your research. Go and write the paper and find who touched Jesus. That is all you need to do. Me, I'm taking care of money." So all this was going on. Time was taken. And Jairus' daughter was gradually inching away, and she died. But have you realized that anytime they tell Jesus somebody is dying, she deliberately let the person die properly? Because they still have breath. So if it tells you wake up, the best this one is coincidental. I mean, same thing happened to Lazarus. I mean, Martha and Mary told you, Jesus, your friend or your body is dying. Jesus, okay, Martha, but he made Lazarus die proper. 4 days, and when I said, yeah, Lazarus, you can't take now for more than 4 days. Lazarus, I'm telling you, you've been taken out for 4 days. It's time for you to wake up. You have to go to the farm and work. Your sisters are depending on you. Lazarus, get up and go and work. And the guy came from his nap. So all this time consuming going on, Jairus' daughter was dying properly until after Jesus had finished with the woman with the issue of life, because that woman needed a healing. Can you imagine? As I said earlier on, the mission of Jesus that day wasn't to heal somebody with an issue of blood. That purpose was to go to Jairus' house. But along the way, in between point A and point B, somebody needed a breakthrough. What do you need from God this evening, tonight? What are you expecting? What do you want? If Jesus is passing here from point A going to point B and you are around, what would you do? Would you also touch his garment? And so Jesus allowed Jairus' daughter to die proper. And he said, Peter, let's go. Now the house has become chaotic, commotion. Then they told Jairus, don't even bother the man. Your daughter is gone. So now all we need to do is maybe, well, you are a synagogue man, you have money already. Let's go and bury your daughter. But the man said, no. Once I've told Jesus, he has to deal with it. Jesus has to take care of this problem. Once I told him before he died, he would do something. And the man had faith because he had the resume of Jesus printed in his hand. Jesus did to Lazarus, he went to the tomb and all the demonic spirit had to leave and go into proto, all that. I mean, the guy had Jesus resume that this man can do it. Whether my daughter is dead or not, maybe I don't care. All I know is that the man can do it. Whether he's going to pour water on her, whether he's going to open her eyes and feel it, or whatever, all I know is that the man can do it. I don't know how. Some of you, that's what you are beginning to, trust God for. You don't know how he's going to do it. You are trusting God for healing. It may be he will use a medical doctor to bring your healing, or he will do supernatural. You don't know. but he can do it and he will do it. So Jesus allowed Jairus' daughter to die properly. And then he put Peter, James, and John and said, hey, let's go. The girl is dead. Actually, he said, she is sleeping. And they laughed at him. The girl is not sleeping. Oh, you and that's you. Will be that. Every now and then, even if you're not a guy, you don't snore. The little girls today have a little whining sound. So if somebody's asleep, you know, at least every now and then, the person will turn their body small. So you know the person is not there. But this one there, life had gone, lifeless. She was just flat. Nothing. Her body had begun to be cold or whatever. So they knew. I mean, nobody needed to tell them that the daughter was dead. But Jesus said, oh, don't worry, the girl is taking it up. Order. And Jesus went there and said, you know what? Daughter, wake up. Also, sorry, get up. So what I cry here. And the first he said, okay, this girl has been sleeping. Give her something to eat. So tonight I came to exhort you. I came to motivate you. I don't know what you are going through. God knows that sometimes you have to depend on people to motivate you. Sometimes too, you have to motivate yourself. This woman had her own motivation. She had her own motivation. Say, you know what? I am going to go. Nanama the pastor said, amen. Thank you. Nanama, God bless you. Whatever you are trusting God for, may it be so according to your faith in Jesus' name. You know, this woman had a motivation. And I started with John Maxwell's, law of consistency. If you are consistent, be consistent what you do. You never know when God will visit you. This woman had an issue for 12 years. I don't know anybody on this earth who has been going through blood flow for 12 years. Maybe they are, maybe they are not, but I don't know. But these days, medical scientists will help you a little bit. But in those days, technology was at lower ebb. I mean, they didn't have vehicles and all that to contemporary. Technology wasn't there where they can just do, all this diagnosis and all those gadgets they put on your stomach or your body, and they can be able to diagnose it. No, it wasn't that. Nobody actually knew what the woman was going through. And nobody told her it was genetic or hereditary, whether her mother had it, her stepmother had it, her grandmother had it. We are not told. All we know is that the woman was a certain woman. She had no, they wouldn't even put her name. You can find a job and say, oh, Sister Adjoana Kamuja Tunum, she's so. Luke decided not to disclose. Of course, Luke being a researcher, a medical doctor, he could have followed up and said, Peter, do you perchance know the name of the lady so I can put it in my book? But he decided to leave it blank, a certain woman, which means she didn't even have any debility. I mean, she was nobody in the society. Unlike Jairus' father, who was the ruler of the synagogue, this guy had authority. He was a ruler. His word carried weight. This woman was a nobody. I don't know what weight you have, whether you are nobody or society, your family has declared you nobody, but before God, we are all somebodies. So tonight I came to motivate you. I am motivating you, motivate yourself, whatever you are trusting God for. This woman walked gently behind Jesus, bulldozing her way through. I know the crowd. I don't know where she started from. I mean, I don't think she was close to Jesus at that time. She must have been joining the crusade way later, but then every inch she was inching her way through. Every second, excuse me. Oh, that's what she said. Excuse me, excuse me, I have a mission. Excuse me, I am motivated. I have a mission. I need to get closer. I'm sure if this woman had even said, you know what, Jesus, you are too far away. But because of the faith that I am tapping on nothing, that would have even worked. But this woman said, you know what? Jesus was laying hands on people. And so I know if he lays hands on me, I will be healed. But that is going to be impossible. At least, like I said earlier on, that day Jesus decided to wear a big cassock. There was a little hem of this garment that the lady was able to touch, and that is what gave her the healing. And so tonight, no matter what you are going through, there's a miracle in the air. Keep on trusting God. If you don't know the person I'm talking about, there is a man called Jesus. If only you will reach out to him, he is able to reach out to you and meet you at the point of your need. Tonight, on behalf of Era One, on my own Divine Connection show, I bring you upliftment. I bring you encouragement. Know your temperaments, know your personality types, know your strengths and your weaknesses. Capitalize on your strength. And where you know you have weaknesses, find a way to go around it. Do a SWOT analysis like the business people do. Know your strengths, your weakness, your opportunities, and your threats. Combine these together and let them work for your advantage. All things are possible. On Divine Connection, we combine the spirit and the human life. This is where divinity meets humanity. What prayer cannot do. When you call God and you blend the natural healing, it works. And whatever the human physiology, whatever cannot do, God is able to do it. But because of wisdom, God wants us to blend the supernatural and the physical. There are times God will heal you through medical scientists. Sometimes he will just visit you. I know of a pastor who had cancer. He was going to cancer and the church prayed for him. God could have just said one, when I say obu, and heal him, but God decided to take him through a process of chemotherapy. But at the end of the day, the prayer of the saint prevailed. And this man is now cancer-free. May the Lord touch you. May the Lord reach you. Wherever you have need, may God richly bless you and come and give testimony. I thank you for having, some time this evening to listen to us. God bless you. I'll give a quick encouraging song, and then after that, I will be off from your screens.
Aden urefiana se otumi manya eni about Aden wasu mani su aposunyade Aden meba Aden kra ya useni da sosa eni da sonsa kra eni da sonsa yo eni da sonsa ya mensubi eni da sonsa eni da Aden kra ya useni da suasa okransina diane nani fabian sentumana Aden miba Aden kra ya useni da suasa to a ready my what did me to a sida me ready ready nani kumu ankuma impowa now our bones and is a sewer now my bibini Aden wasu mani suwa for some day Aden me ba Aden cry ya usani da suasa
If you say, oh, tunaning. Fau hau ne udajina. Fatuna so no beyama. If you say oji uhu. Fau wani nina tunaso. Pipa wani misoi. Jajinji no beyama. If you say oji uhu. Fau wani nina tunaso.
For those of you who don't understand the Ghanaian dialect, what the song is saying is that there is hope for your future. Don't give up. No matter what you're going through, there is still hope. Just keep trusting God. And on this note, I want to wish a friend of mine who has some liver, kidney issues. I just want to say, brother, don't give up. There is still hope at the end of the tunnel. Keep trusting God, and I'm praying for you that God will touch you. No matter what you think the enemy is doing, God has a solution. So keep trusting God. I don't want to mention your name, but I'm trusting God that whatever liver issue, whatever kidney issues you are going through, your tummy issues, I pray that the God that healed this woman with an issue of blood for 12 years, that same Jesus will visit you and touch you and bring you healing. All right. I just want to make this, and for those of you who haven't read this book, Define All Odds. It's written by Sabina and Jermaine Patterson. Define All Odds, the battle between faith in God and the challenges of medical science. When you read this book, you will get closer to God. This is a book written about a woman who had an ectopic pregnancy. Normally, ectopic babies don't survive, but this woman's baby made it, and the boy is still alive. This book recounts the goodness of the Lord, what God can do, that you might find yourself with an ectopic pregnancy, the survival rate of 0.001%, but this woman made it. Get a copy of this book. Go to Amazon. Just put in Define All Odds by Sabina and Jermaine Patterson. Get a copy of this book and read to pump up your faith. When you finish reading this book, your faith will be pumped up. Well, on that note, I'm going to end my broadcast tonight. Thank you. I'll see you again on Thursday. On Thursday, Pastor Con and Uncle Max and I will be here to continue our series on, I think we'll do the second temptation. Come and learn some. You didn't even know that statistics was in the Bible, but come and learn more, because on this show, Divine Connection, divinity intercepts with humanity. Have a good evening, and I'll see you very soon. On behalf of Era One, keep watching. Go back to Facebook. Go back to YouTube or Modern Ghana Radio and listen to the clip and all the clips that we have there. Enjoy your evening and have a good one. Bye-bye.
Aden urefiana seo tumi manya eni about Aden wasua mani suwa fosunyade Aden meba Aden kra eya useni daswasa eni dasusa kra eni dasusa yo uwera eni dasusa eya mensubi eni dasusa eni dasuwa Okransina diane Nani pabian sintu mana Aden mi ba aden kra Na ya usani da suasa Okransina diane Nani pabian sintu mana Aden mi ba aden kra Na ya usani da suasa To a radi ma woditi me To a sida me radi radi Nani kumu ankuma impongwa Na uwa waba unsani sasuwa Na uma ubiribini Adaina wasuwa mani suwa fosumnyadai Adain mimba, adain kra Daya usani da suwasa
If you say